Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Hello, dear learners. I am Professor Jamia from IAC, Faculty of Education, Jamia Millia Islamia, New Delhi. Today's topic of our discussion is Introduction to Emotional, Moral, and Language Development and Interdependence of All Aspects of Development. So, today we are going to focus upon the concept of emotion and the meaning of emotional development. We will also talk about uh, the meaning and importance of moral development, and will put some light on language development of the learners. We will also try to list out salient features and characteristics of emotional development, moral development, as well as language development. And when the discussion will be over, you will be in a position to describe how to enrich and enhance these aspects of development among our learners. We will also try to discuss the interrelationships and interdependence of various aspects of development. Friends, we have already discussed three important aspects of development, that is physical development, intellectual development, and social development in the previous discussion. So our focus today will be on these three aspects of development, that is emotional development, moral development, and language development. So friends, let's start with emotional development. Emotion is a very important, characteristic of or feature of human being. This is, distinguished aspect of human, like love, anger, fear, and such other feelings, and its reflection are very peculiar to human being. And this emotion is basically a stirred up or excited state of mind, body, and heart of an individual. This is the reason that Woodworth has defined emotion as a moved or stirred up state of an organism. It is a stirred up state of feeling, that is the way it appears to the individual himself. It is a disturbed muscular and glandular activity, that is the way it appears to an extended or external behavior, or to the external observer. According to Crow and Crow, an emotion is an affective experience. When we say affective experience, it means the experiences which are related to our feelings, which are related to our heart. So Crow and Crow highlight that emotion is an affective experience that accompanies generalized inner adjustment and mental and psychological stirred up states in the individual, and that shows itself in his overt behavior. Overt behavior means the behavior which is observed by others. We know that we all human beings have some basic instincts, and emotions are always related to one or the other basic instincts of human beings. You must be aware that what are these basic instincts. For example, if we talk about hunger, hunger is a basic instinct. Thirsty, to become thirst, is again basic instinct. Love and affection is a basic instinct of human being. Having security and safety is another basic instinct of human being. So when these instincts are, satisfied or dissatisfied or challenged, some sort of emotions come outside. So instincts are basically innate tendency towards something. Now, talk about the characteristic of emotions. So, first of all, we should understand that emotions are the product of perception. You must be aware that a perception is something like, whatever you sense through your sense organ. We have five sense organs, and through all these five sense organs we receive information. So sensation is a mechanical process. It's a biological, totally a mechanical process. So whenever we sense something, our mind gives meaning to that sensation, and providing meaning to that sensation is basically perception. And it is said that emotions are the product of perception. It means that whatever you are sensing and whatever perception you are giving to that sensation, depending upon those perceptions, some emotions comes out of you. The core of emotion is basically feeling. All emotional experiences involve feelings, that is, things of the heart. Feelings and emotions both are affective experiences. The difference lies in the degree with which they are felt or displayed. After perceiving things or situation or anything else, feelings like pleasure or displeasure can be aroused. If it is of low degree or intensity, it is within the individual and termed as just feelings, simple feelings, not sensed by others from outside. But when the intensity or degree is so strong to excite the mind and body of the individual to act immediately, it turns to emotions and is overt in nature and are observed by others in the environment. So emotional experience involves many physical and physiological changes in the organism. It means whenever you are emotional, when you become highly emotional, there are certain changes which are occurring in your body, which may be physical as well as physiological in nature. For example, when you are highly emotional, your BP rises, blood pressure rises, your pulse rate rises, your sometimes your eye bulges out, sometimes your eye become red, having redness in your eyes. Sometimes it is observed that whosoever is becoming angry on somebody else, there is observation of the skin over the forehead has become shrunken. So these are, these are basically signs of emotions. Similarly, we have flow of tears, choking of voices, rise in heartbeat. All these are basically emotional, experiences and physical and physiological changes because of these emotional experiences. Similarly, these emotions also activates adrenal gland of the body and accelerates blood circulation, etc. And some of these may cause harm to the individual. For example, if somebody is a patient of high blood pressure, then if the blood pressure rises up, if the pulse rate goes up, then it may harm to the individual. Emotions have the quality of displacement. This is another very important, characteristic of emotions. So emotions are said to be having the quality of displacement. Displacement, it is not a physical displacement that in physics or in science we study that whenever we transfer an object from one place to another, it is called the displacement of that object from one place to another by so many means. Here, the displacement in terms of the emotions is basically, you can understand this with the help of an example. Suppose you as a teacher are going from your residence to a school or college, and you are driving your vehicle, be it a scooter or two-wheeler or four-wheeler, and you made some accident in the way, and you have some argumentation with your opponent, with another person. And because of this argument, your blood pressure is high, you are highly emotional, and so as soon as you reach school, there is a class which you have to take up. So you enter into the class, and as soon as you enter into the class, you observe that the students are gossiping among themselves. The students are not disciplined, and so you shouted up among on these students, or you ask about your previous day assignment that you have given to them, and some of them have not come up with their assignment, and that's why you are shouting them, shouting over them, and you are becoming very angry, and this is basically very unique for these students, because these students have never seen you in this kind of temperament. This emotion in this class is basically displacement of the emotion which occurred in the in the route of your residence to schools. So this is basically displacement of emotion. Similarly, we may have that we have a quarrel, we have an argument with my friends, and when I reached home, my father says some assignment to me, my father says something to me, and I become angry with my father. This is again an example of displacement of emotions. So these things are happen in our day-to-day life. You can understand that emotions are having the quality of displacement. Similarly, present all stages of development means emotions are present at all stages of development. So children, infants, the children, the early childhood stage, later childhood stage, adolescent stage, and adulthood stage, all stages of development, you can see, you can observe, you can experience emotions. Then emotions rise abruptly and die down slowly. It is another very important characteristic of emotions, that emotion rise abruptly, suddenly, but die down slowly. So if somebody in front of you is highly emotional, you should not expect that that individual will become, cool down immediately. So you have to wait, and you have to wait for some time. Let him slow down or cool down, and let his or her emotions cool down, and give her or him some time to relax. So another important characteristic of emotion is that negative emotions, there is a negative correlation between the upsurge of emotion and intelligence. It means that whenever you are highly emotional, your intelligence comes down. So it's suggested that you must work within your positive emotions. If you are highly angry, if you are in the situation of fear, if you are in the situation of stress, and certain all these emotions are going to disturb your intelligence. That is why it is said that there is a negative correlation between upsurge of emotion and intelligence. Emotional control and management is therefore required by all of us for smooth functioning in our day-to-day life. Now we talk about emotional maturity. As we discussed, the emotional intelligence is very important. Emotional maturity, basically, ability to display emotions in an appropriate degree. Appropriate degree means which is desirable in the society, in the community, in the family. So emotional maturity is the ability to display emotions in an appropriate degree with reasonable control, taking into consideration the social desirability, social ethics, values, and customs of the family, culture, and society at large. The combination of these abilities are termed as emotional intelligence of an individual. Now, the question is what teachers should do, what teachers should play his or her role with regard to the development of emotion among the children. Of course, teachers required to take care of all the aspects of development: physical development, emotional development, intellectual development, social development, because all these development are interrelated, and teachers should monitor the behavior of the learner and provide certain environment wherein students can learn how to express their emotions and how to control their emotions. So this is the introductory discussion on emotional development, the theory behind emotion, how emotions of the children are developed, how the emotions of children can be monitored and can be guided, have been discussed by a very famous psychologist, Erikson. And this theory of Erikson's, emotional development theory of Erikson, we will discuss in some other presentation some day after. So we move on to another very important aspect of development, and this is moral development. As soon as we listen to the term moral, automatically we have certain imagination in our mind that it is related to values, it is related to ethics, it is related to your culture, and it is related to your conduct. So development of character, values, ethics, and conduct or morality accepted by the society at large are called, morality. And development of this morality among the learners is termed as moral development. And this is one of the most important and responsibility on the shoulder of the teachers to guide the moral development of the learners, because the real meaning of education is to inculcate, is to develop the moral development of the learner and character formation of the learner, so that the learners, the young generation, can be, can play a very important role, significant role, an ideal role in the society, in the community, and at the national level, and of course at global level. Now the question is, what is moral or immoral act? Who will decide this? What is moral or what is immoral? Yes, basically this decision is taken by, society at large. So it is decided by the society, the culture, and of course, as it is decided by the society or by the culture, and society is different, the cultures are different. So there is a variation in morality from society to society, community to community, and culture to culture. There is no uniformity at all. But in a certain society of course, morality has certain levels and certain standards. That standards, that levels, that uniformity is required to be developed in the new generation. And because of all these, which we have discussed now, according to Dumville has defined morality in a certain different way. Morality, according to Dumville, is a sum of all the tendencies which an individual possesses. Tendencies may be innate as well as acquired by the person. According to Ross, morality or character is just the organized self. When we say organized self, it means that the purpose of the teacher, purpose of the school system, purpose of education at large is to organize the quality of an individual, is to organize the self of the individual. And then we talk about self. Self means all the potentialities which are present in an individual, present in a learner, and that potentialities are known to the learner, and making these potentialities known to the learner is one of the most important objective of education. And you as a teacher have to make all the learners aware about his potentialities, aware about his abilities, aware about his capacities, aware about his positive and negative traits, and work on them. And in the process of working on these qualities, you can have a learner with certain good qualities which are desirable in the society. That's why Ross is saying that morality or character is just the organized self. Teachers' role are very important as far as the development of morality is concerned. Teachers are supposed to be the role model for the society, and nowadays what we are observing at national level and international level, teachers probably have forget their important role, their crucial role of shaping the society, shaping the community, shaping the character of new generation, and development of morality, development of values, development of ethics, which are needed at urgent basis in the society, because the society has become materialistic in nature, and we are giving very less focus on value education, on the character building of our learners, which is a point of concern. And we all, not only teachers but the policymakers of education and the curriculum developers must take note of this, and they all should work together for the betterment of education and to develop certain education which not only make the new generation a person who is just interested in earning their bread, but also making them an ideal citizen, making them an ideal social member of the society, a member who is respectable to all, and who is regarded by all, and who is seen as an ideal for the new generation. So, as far as the development of morality is concerned, the development of values are concerned, one very important theory in this regard is the theory of Kohlberg's on development of morality, which will be discussed in some other presentation. Here we have to discuss the introductory part of moral development, which probably we have. So friends, now we come to the third aspect of development which we have to discuss today, and that is language development. So language is a means of communication which is learned and acquired by the individual from birth till later stages. And language is one of the most important tool of communication. Without language, communication is almost impossible. Of course, when there was no language at all, then the means of communication was sign, and sign is also known as sign language. So some sort of language is essential for any kind of communication. And as I said, that language starts with birth of the child. So when the child is born, and it grows up and start to develop and start to grow, it start to communicate first through sign, through body languages, and then after acquiring some words, learning some words, the child start to communicate with the help of words, with the help of sentences or all. So the key tool of language development is basically observation, imitation, interactions, and communication. So observation is the first most important tool of language development, key of language development. So children used to observe how their parents, how the siblings, how the person in the society and community, how the person around them are communicating among one another, and by observing the communication in their environment, they start to imitate those communications, imitate those words, imitate those sentences, and in course of time, through imitation, through observation, imitation, and they start to interact with the members of the society, member of the family, member of the community. And in this way, language of the learner, language of the child develop from a earlier stage to later stage, and the process goes on until the child attain maturity in terms of their language ability. So, in one sentence, we can say that language is the strongest tool of overall development of the learner. Now try to understand the dimensions of child's language development. There are four important dimensions of child's language development. Number one is oral vocabulary, means the words, the words that the child learn through observation, through imitation, and by so many means in course of time. So this is the first most important dimension of language development. Then the second one is expression, oral expression or a speech power. So when the child learn how to speak, when the voice comes into the mouth of the child, when the child start to speak, they start speaking the words which they listen to their parents. And in this way, the expression or the speech of speech ability of the learner starts and grow. And the third dimension is reading ability. Then the children start to read out the text, whatever they are taught by their parents, by their teachers, whatever language they are taught by their parents, by the teacher, whatever language are spoken in the community, in the society at large, and whatever dialects are being used in the family. These all are learned by the children in course of their growth and development, and they learn how to read those texts. And then the fourth dimension is writing ability or written expression. This is another very important dimension. So merely reading is not sufficient. You are supposed to write also. Only then you can achieve higher levels in the process of your growth and development, and reaching to the greater heights. Here I am going to present in front of you some of the milestones of language development. Vocabulary of children according to their age. So you will find that the children after birth, with their growing age, they are found by researches that at certain stage of their development, at certain years of their development, they develop certain specific number of words. And in this regard, the researches done by Smith, Thompson, and Lipset are very important. They have conducted their study, and on the basis of their studies, they have given certain important, developmental milestone in the field of language. And by comparing with these milestones, you can find out as a teacher or as a parent whether the learner, whether your children is progressing in the right manner in terms of language development or not. So, according to their researches, from birth to 8 months, that is within 8 months of the lifespan of the child, no any words are learned by the learner, by the children. So there is zero words at all. But from 9th to 12th months, that is 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, in the span of these 4 months, 3 words comes to the dictionary of the learner, dictionary of the child. So if you find a child is speaking 3-4 words in the age span of 9 to 12 months, you can conclude that the language development of this child is going on in the right direction. It is a normal growth and development in terms of language development is happening in the case of this child. But if the child at the age of 12 months is unable to speak even a single word, it means there is some problem, and you need to accelerate that. You need to do something for this child for their language development. Similarly, they have given by the age of 1.5 years, children learn to speak 10 to 12 words. By the age of 2 years, 272 words comes to their dictionary. By the age of 2.5 years, 450 words are learned by the children, by normal child, you can say. By the age of 3 years, it is found that almost 1,000 words comes to the dictionary of the children at a normal level. And so by comparing a growing child and with this age and with this attainment of words, as per the researches, you can compare and you can find out whether the language development of the children are going in the right direction or not. If you find that there is some problem, some issue, the number of words which the child should learn at this stage is not learning, then you have to think about that. then you have to do some exercise for the growth of that child. You have to engage more with the learner. You have to communicate more with the learner. You have to give more opportunities to that child for observation and for imitation and for interaction with the members of the family and members of the society, members of the student or the peer group or teachers in the school system. So uh, so now, language, as we have discussed, that's a key to all-round development of the learners, all-round development of the child. And this is the reason that in school system at primary level, at elementary level, 3 R's are focused. It's reading skills, writing skills, and arithmetic abilities are supposed to be developed among all learners. And in case of language skills, 3 skills are very important. A skill of reading, a skill of writing, and a skill of listening to others. If these 3 skills are developed among the learners, they are supposed to develop in the language efficiency at a proper level, at a proper rate of their growth and development. Now come to the factors influencing language development. As we have been discussing, we have been interacting that all aspects of the development are interrelated. So here is also all aspects of development, including physical development, mental development, maturation of the child, mental health of the child, intelligence of the child, social development of the child, emotional development of the child, family environment, the society environment, environment of the community, peer group of the learner, school education and environment in the school, and learning potentialities and all other associated factors are very important in the development of language among the learners. And so the responsibility of the school system and the family system is to take care of all this development of the children so that they can also progress properly in the development of their language. So, in the case of language development and how language of the child develop in course of his growth and development from birth to adolescence, the very celebrated work in this area is done by Noam Chomsky, and hopefully this particular theory of language development by Noam Chomsky will be discussed by some other expert in the area in the next presentation. So friends, now we are coming to the next topic of today's discussion, and this is interrelationships and interdependence of various aspects of development. We have already discussed the 3 aspects in the previous discussion, that is physical development, mental development, and social development. Today we have covered emotional development, language development, and moral development. Now we are going to discuss how all these 6 aspects of development are interrelated and interdependent, so that we as a teacher must take care of this, that we provide certain environment to the children wherein all these 6 aspects of development are taken care of, and all these 6 aspects of development go hand in hand, and children progress in their growth and development in a balanced manner. So for example, I'm going to talk about some important examples, and with that example this will be very clear how all these aspects are interrelated and interdependent. So first of all, take a case of an isolated child. You must be aware that what is an isolated child. The child in the classroom or in the school setup or even in the family environment, the child who is not interacting with other members of the society, the child who is not interacting with other class friends or classmates, the learner who is not having lunch, having breakfast, having discussion and deliberation, having sharing their assignment, sharing their projects with any of the classmates, are supposed to be the isolated child. So the child who is not interacted by any other members or any other classmate, or the child who don't want to interact with any other, so he is totally isolated. Once the child is isolated, means this isolation is basically that the child is socially isolated. So he or she has no friends, he or she has no peer group, and that's why the social development is basically suffering for that particular child. He or she is unable to develop socially in a proper manner. So he or she is socially isolated, and because of this isolation in terms of society or social development, that particular child will not be in a position now, will not be having the opportunity to interact with other child in terms of in different aspects of subject or syllabus or curriculum or any topic of study, and in this way the intellectual development will also be suffering, as the child is not having interaction with other children in the class or in the school, so emotional development will also suffer. As the child is not interacting with others, so the child will not be playing with others, will not be enjoying games with others, and so the physical development will be also suffering. So you will find that all aspects of development will be suffered for that particular child who is isolated. So this example clearly indicates that all aspects of development are interrelated and interdependent. Similarly, you can take an example of a intelligent child. The child who is intelligent, how you will come to know that the child is intelligent? You will come to know by just interacting with the child, by observing of the child, how the child is interacting, communicating with other members of the society, how the child is responding to the questions asked to him, how the child is taking interest in games and sports, how the child is taking interest in seminars or workshops or classroom discussion and deliberation, how the child is responding to the questions of the teacher, responding to the various topics of general discussion. So because of these overt behavior of the child, you come to the conclusion that the child is intelligent. So the intelligent child is reflecting the behavior in terms of social interaction, in terms of their morality, in terms of their language, and in this way you will find that the child is not only intelligent, at the same time he is morally good, he is he is good at language, and he is good at the playground as well. So if the child is intelligent and academically sound, most probably the child will be doing well in other aspects of development as well. Now take another a very good example of any CWSN, any children with with special needs, like the children who is having certain physical problem, like maybe he is a visual impaired, or maybe having hearing impaired, or any kind of disability is there with the child. Generally, what we find, generally we find that the classmates do not make friends of this kind, who is a physically disabled child, or who is a visually impaired child, or who is a hearing impaired child. Generally, it is found that these type of children do not have friends in the classroom. This is a general phenomena, although nowadays there is a focus of inclusive environment in the school setup, inclusive education at all levels of education. So we are doing hard work in this area to improve the inclusivity in the school environment, in the college environment, in the university environment. But this is our normal observation, that this sort of child do not mix with other, or others, or the normal child do not make friend to these types of children. And so you can understand that if certain child is not having friend, then his social development will be suffering, his intellectual development will be suffering, his emotional development will be suffering, his moral development will be suffering, and you will find that all the aspects of development will be suffering, because the child because of his disability is isolated from the classroom, isolated from other activities which is going on in the school environment. So similarly, you will find that those students who are well adjusted are basically growing and developing in all aspects of development, and those who are maladjusted, and this maladjustment is basically because that particular child, that particular student is unable to adjust to certain particular environment in the school. And so similarly, those children who are emotionally adjusted, means they can adjust to each and every type of a student, each and every type of learner. They are generally growing in all aspects of development in a proper manner. And those who are emotionally maladjusted, it means they are going to face, and they are basically facing problem in all other aspects of development, not only in emotional developmental aspects. Now the time has come that we should discuss about the educational implications of the aspects of development, and the awareness of various aspects of development, the mechanism of various aspects of development, and the understanding of the phenomena that all aspects of development are interrelated and interconnected. Understanding of all these things are very important for a teacher, for a curriculum planner, for the parents, for the principals, for the educational administrators, and all stakeholders of school education or education at a larger level. So it helps in different fashion. Understanding of all these things helps arranging for the proper learning experiences to the children at the very appropriate time. Similarly, what is expected from the children at different ages help teacher to assess their growth, development, and provide proper learning environment experiences and refer to medical treatment or counseling if required. This teacher can only do if they understand the phenomena, the process, the mechanism, and the normal trend of these aspects of development. Similarly, teacher can himself or herself take many preventive and curative measures to bring the developmental process on track. This is also possible only if the teacher is well versed with all aspects of development, and they are also interested with observing whether the children are going on the right track as far as the physical development is concerned, as far as the mental development is concerned, as far as the emotional development is concerned, as far as the moral development is concerned, and in all other aspects of development. So teacher may be better prepared to provide needed care, security, and preventive safeguard for their adequate adjustment, well-being, and progress of the child. The understanding of all these aspects of development and their mechanism helps the teachers, curriculum planner, and trainers to plan age-appropriate content, learning experiences, assessment strategies, and other related activities. Teachers should also give weightage to all domains, all aspects of personality, with a special focus on morality, which is probably least focused in the present materialistic world. One very important thing which I want to mention here that that is not observed in any school boards or any university. You must have observed that all school boards mark sheet and all university mark sheet reflect the marks or the grades or percentile ranks of the learner of only two domains, that is the scholastic domain and the skill part, that is psychomotor domain. Morality, the domain of morality, the affective domain is totally neglected. So I think that degree, diploma, certificates should reflect grades on morality of the individual in addition to marks, grades or percentile in academic or scholastic areas, because morality is very important aspect of personality, and it is morality, it is the value aspect, it is your ethics which makes you adjust in the society, in the community, or in the organization where you are going to work in. So, friends, now I'm going to conclude today's discussion and deliberation. And we have discussed that emotions are the expressions of our inner feelings, which are intense in nature. It is it is the strongest means to share our affection, love, anger, agreement, or disagreement to others. Emotions need to be well managed for better performance in our life activities. We have also discussed about moral development of the child, morality of the child, and this can be concluded in just one sentence, that education without morality is like body without soul. As you know, without soul, body is nothing. And similarly, if a person has become educated, has become degree holder, has become a man of letter in some sort of subject areas, but if he or she do not have values and morality, then this education is, again, I think, is useless for the society, for the community. Then it is our language, way of communication and expression, which makes you win the heart of people. So language skills are crucial for our progress and development. We must take care of the language development of the children in family, in household, as well as in schools and educational institutions. We, the teachers, need to take care of all the aspects of development of learners' personality during the curriculum development, its transaction, and teaching learning process. If the teachers are vigilant, if the curriculum planner are vigilant, if the persons involved in curriculum transaction are vigilant, if the educational planner, policy maker, and educational managers are vigilant, and they are taking care of all aspects of development in a balanced way for each and every child, only then we can have a better education system, and we can have a better product in the form of young citizen of the country. With this, I thank you all and wish to see you in the next presentation. Thank you so much.